Welcome to Tailor Made Chaos. On this podcast, we'll bring you some of the highest flyers and most interesting people in and around the fitness industry. We'll talk and laugh with CEOs, franchisee groups, exercise specialists, and to those who work in sales and marketing, and will share their insights and knowledge of all things related to the business of fitness. Love what you hear? Make sure you like and subscribe to keep up to date. On with today's show, proudly brought to you in conjunction with Fit Into Shape, a small but dedicated team of fitness industry professionals, delivering on all of your fitness equipment and gym design needs.
Made up Zen. Made up Zen.
3, 2, 1. Welcome to another episode of Tailor Made Chaos. Today I have the absolute pleasure and privilege of being with my esteemed guest, CJV. Now, did I say CJV? I said that wrong, didn't I? Because it's Zab.
Yeah.
What's the V bit?
Made up. V, made up. Zed. It's a bit of a strange name, so I don't blame you at all. It is a strange name.
So, CJ, can I just call you CJ?
Yes,
That's going to
please.
go much easier.
Please.
CJ, tell me a bit about yourself.
So, my name's CJ, and I've lived in Sydney my entire life.
Yes.
That being said, I've travelled a fair bit.
Yep.
But for me, my life has really been around movement the whole time. When I sort of reflected before catching up with you, Glenn, I thought about where I've kind of been in my career and my history of living in the world today. And movement has always been at the centre of what I've done. I started as a young kid dancing and horse riding and all these sports that involved better posture, better alignment, improving your performance. So I was already, in many ways, without doing Pilates at a very young age, already sort of applying and approaching these principles. So it had always been a case of movement in my centre, or movement in my being, and it just made me feel better.
So we have a couple of props here. Pilates journal, that's what you're doing now.
Yeah.
We will get to that, but I love that we've started right at the beginning. So you grew up in Sydney. What part of Sydney?
Yeah, so southwest Sydney.
You're a Westie.
Little bit.
You've hidden those scars well. So,
Look,
where'd you grow up?
I grew up out near Camden. So had a great childhood out there. It was at a time where out there it was very farm, very country.
Yep.
So I was really lucky to have horses and lots of farm animals around me my entire time.
Yeah, and without dating you too much, when was this period? The 80s?
Yeah, wonderful time.
Great time to grow up.
Yeah.
And you said that you're into dance and horse riding. Were you a smart kid, like an education kid, or more a sports kid?
Yeah, I would say somewhere between, which is a really strange mix, academic and creative. So I wanted to be good at the things I was learning, the skills. It was just a natural thing in me to want to do things better or understand things deeper. It was just the way I approached the world. But then always loving to throw music or creativity or colour or dance or whatever it might look like. So, bringing both those sides of my personality. I'm a Gemini, so maybe that makes more sense.
It does to another Gemini. So
Exactly.
Which personality are we talking to today? So,
Exactly.
Very good. And sorry for anyone who's watching and going, he's sipping an awful lot of coffee. It's been a very long morning, but it's nice to sit down for 5 minutes and have a chat. So CJ, you went to school out at Camden. Mm-hmm. And for those who don't know, Camden it's kind of a little sort of country town, I guess.
Yeah.
It's grown a bit now, but it's still a pretty small town.
Absolutely. And, it wasn't long before, by the time I finished school, that I sort of headed to the city because that's where university was. That's where I saw my future. I wanted to be a journalist. So I did a lot of study, Bachelor of Communications Journalism, that sort of thing, and led into marketing, media. I worked very closely in many PR media teams in Sydney. I was fortunate enough to work in TV for a little bit and really got my hand at media and how it all works and all the crises that happen in the media space, which...
Everything's a crisis.
Everything's a crisis.
So you learn... Crisis is a headline, right?
Yeah, and you learn crisis management, that you learn how to work under pressure really well.
We could have used you on the stand this morning that we were building. I'm still wiping away the sweat.
Everyone always says to me, in a crisis, you're calm. Why are you calm? And I think it was just all those foundations built.
So you grew up dancing though, and a lot of people who do Pilates do have sort of a foundation in dance. Was that kind of where you led you to Pilates eventually?
Well, it's funny. When I reflected, I started the first time I did a Pilates class, I was about 12, and it was at my dance school, but at the time I didn't realise what it was. And back then Pilates wasn't very well known.
No.
But at the flip side, it was very slow to move, It took a lot of attention and wasn't like the diversity we see in Pilates now, where there's just something for everybody. So, you either got it or you found it was a little bit not too exciting and you kind of moved on.
Well, it was very traditional. Didn't find Pilates probably until the late 2000s? 2000s. And going into the 2010s, I started to do more with Pilates myself. Total different journey, but I don't think I would have seen myself in the 80s or 90s doing Pilates. It just wasn't. It was a very traditional type thing.
It was very niche. It was very female orientated. It was very.
Which isn't a bad thing for a straight guy. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Lots of opportunity, right?
I met my current partner.
Amazing.
Yeah, we'll talk about that off camera.
But I think there was just, it sort of set the foundation for me understanding my body better, the mind-body connection. And I think as a young person learning that, it just helps you how you approach any exercise or sport, because you know where to propel from, where to find that core control, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And once you've set the foundations in, they set you up for life. Doesn't mean you get everything right, but it definitely helps.
So did dance growing up? Did you go to any sort of high level with dancing?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. So I competed all across Australia. I did all sorts of different types of dancing. I will admit I was in the Wiggles movie.
That's a good admission.
Well, that's something that I was proud of at the time.
Yeah.
And also with my horse riding, I actually took that internationally and went to Texas and rode in a world competition. So it was a lot of fun to
So you're a high achiever in everything that you do.
Well, I think it's just naturally inbuilt into who I am. I don't think I go out of my way to find it. It just seems to be what I do. And it's kind of like this. When I started on this journey, I knew that this was going to be something great. This was going to be for a global community. This was going to be a resource that people would feel connected to and a sense of community. Mm-hmm. There have been in the past, not many, but there have been other industry publications, but perhaps they haven't had the depth of the discussions that we have in the Pilates Journal. Yeah.
Well, it obviously sounds like the Pilates Journal is the culmination. Pilates, dance, media training. Yeah. I don't quite know how the horse riding, but maybe that's the show part of it comes into it. And we'll probably talk about your events a little bit later on. I think you've got one coming up in LA and one in Sydney. Yeah. At least I remembered something. So, but I guess let's talk about the horse riding for a bit.
Yeah.
And the dance.
Yeah.
Like, are these two things that happen concurrently? You're doing one and the other at the same time?
Great
That's
question.
that bipolar personality of the Gemini. I love it.
Yeah. So the dance was something I'd done from a very young age, from 3. Mm-hmm. I probably did it up until I was about 15 and extensively, 6 days a week. Long hours, weekends, Eisteddfods, concerts. Like, it was part of my bread and butter of who I became and how I suppose I presented myself in the world for a long time. But my dad had always had a really deep country roots and horses, and I'd been fortunate to have that in the background. And so when I finally got to my teenage years, or just before that, I decided that I loved my dance, but I also wanted to explore something else. And that was the closest thing to me. And working with an animal is really exciting as well, because you have to have a give and take, and there's a relationship. As a dancer, it's all on you to have to perform a certain way. But now I had to work with another animal or another being, so to speak, and understand their needs and mine, connecting together, working together in unity, so to speak.
Well, again, I think, what you said earlier, there is a real foundation and movement in that. And if people kind of can see that link, I think, movement on a horse, a lot of core.
Well, it's funny, to your point, a lot of people don't realise how much you need that to ride a horse, and
Absolutely.
how much it really helps you. I think why I was successful in that industry was because I had a great posture, I had great alignment because of all my years of dance.
Yeah.
It was automatically given to me. Doesn't mean I didn't have to work for it, but it was a byproduct. For sure.
So you filmed in the Wiggles. This was all at a younger age.
Yeah.
You're doing a lot of dance and Eisteddfods and stuff. I assume mum and dad were both on the scene, so they were busy parents.
They were busy parents, and I have 2 older brothers as well, but they were about 10 years, 12 years older than me, so off in the world, making their own way by then.
Got it.
Very close family, so I've been very lucky for that.
Yep.
And they still are to this day. but obviously in their own journeys and their own at that time.
So you made that transition. What type of horse events were you doing? Was it show? Was it?
Yeah, great question. American sport. So, which is quite strange in Australia. You don't see a lot of it. In America, it's the quarter horse industry. So, it's a big industry here now, but at the time it was growing.
Yep.
And so it's very much the Western saddle. You know, people think cowboys, that sort of thing.
Yep.
A little more sophisticated than that, and it's really an art form. It's like watching a horse do a dance.
Okay.
It's like almost like dressage. It's slow, controlled movements, time under tension. How can you get them to do something with grace?
Yeah.
So
and you remain graceful yourself.
Exactly, and composed.
Probably the hardest part. Yeah. So it's not the Olympic type of show jumping though. It's quite a different event. Or...
Yeah. Look, it would be for the industry itself. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
So it was fun, and I really enjoyed it. And I still find that I can get on a horse and really have a great time. And I spent so much time in the saddle that my body just knows where to be and what to do and where to go. But that's just your body trained in a certain skill. You know, just like Pilates, just like many other forms of exercise. If you're a golfer, your body learns how to do that movement, that rotation well over time. The more you do anything, you get better at it, I think.
Yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
it's fascinating.
So that took you across to the US. Was that like a sponsored thing? You know, was it a financial cost? Or
there was a cost to going.
A reward to doing it?
No, it was a financial cost. So my dad and I went, and we had an amazing time. I was part of a team that was selected to go.
Yep.
And just like in Olympics, you compete in certain things that they positioned you to be the best in that particular class.
Yep.
So you would represent. And at that event, you would also do classes that sit slightly outside that as well. So reining is another sport where a horse will chase a cow.
Okay.
Something I hadn't done a lot of.
Right.
But you need a lot of skill to be able to stay on a horse when they're moving fast with another animal. So they almost move underneath you really quickly. So you need the core strength to be able to hold on, rotate, twist at speed. So being exposed to so much new things while being there in new classes by experts in the industry. So they would bring together the best in the industry to educate you while you were there as well. So you'd have an education camp, then you would compete. So I think that also in many ways showed me how important education was.
Well, it goes hand in hand with the story of where we get to. So you went on, you did media studies, journalism. I guess technically you've become a journalist, but where was the next progression? You were working in media and TV.
Yeah.
What happened from there? Because I think you travelled to the UK?
No, travelled to the UK, no. I did spend a bit of time in the US.
Yep.
So I travelled a little bit to the US and worked on some trade shows and conferences in the US, which was amazing. It gave me a real sense of trade shows, how they work, what doesn't work. Working very closely with the organiser of these events, so I really got to see what works in these environments, what didn't at the time.
What were the trade shows?
Yeah, so they were working in with the surf, skate and swimwear industries.
Okay.
And also supporting the PGA, the golf tournaments as well, through the trade show side of things. So it was really exciting to just see all those things come to life and those different industries and how they worked. And in many ways, what we're doing now with the expo is kind of what I'd done back then. Yeah, again, it's kind of realising that's come back into the fold to make things smooth and seamless at these events, because as we know, it's always a challenge.
And you were living in the US for a while? So where were you living?
California. I have family in California.
Yep.
I have a brother there who's been there for a very long time, almost 3 decades.
Oh, wow.
I've been travelling there that whole time. So for me, California is my second home.
Makes sense why that's where the show's going to.
Yeah, and also, you know, we also strategically looked at the broader demographic of where Pilates is in the US. Yes, there's some other key pockets, but definitely California is where there's a lot of growth. Yeah. There's still so many studios opening. There's a real, sense of studios opening on every corner, so to speak, which we've already seen in Sydney. We've already seen that growth, but they're seeing it more now.
Being fortunate, I travel a fair bit with the fitness industry, and I feel like Australia actually became kind of I'd like to say one of the breeding grounds for what I refer to as fitness Pilates.
Yes.
And for me, fitness Pilates is, Pilates classes within fitness clubs.
Yes.
I feel like, that's kind of where the industry's gone, and I feel like a lot of other countries are just starting to catch on to that vibe now.
just starting to catch on, exactly. What we're seeing that across the globe. You're having lots of conversations with people in the UK and the US, and they're trying to make sense of or bring what they're seeing from Australia. They're very curious about what we've been doing for quite some time now. But I think, you know, Australian culture has been that we are open to flex, be adaptable, try new things. We're very comfortable taking something like Pilates and blending the method. You know, some classes you'll see will have Pilates with HIIT elements in it. Some you'll see with strength elements in it. And then you'll see some people who have tacked on a rowing machine to the front of a reformer. You know, we're really creative in how we look and approach the Pilates industry while still being respectful of the roots. And I think other countries are seeing that and saying, oh, wow, like we either need to get on board or we're going to be left behind. They're trying to make sense of it. But they also need to look at it because you need to differentiate yourself in the industry. How do you stand out amongst the market? We just did a survey recently which showed that 50% of studios are looking to put in more reformer classes. They're really pushing group reformer classes, whether that's a boutique studio or a gym or what that looks like. But what's really fascinating about that is people are saying, all right, there is a shift, which we all know in Sydney, in Australia, we know, but now seeing that branch out and people saying, well, I have to adapt my business if I want to survive. Doesn't mean you make a choice. What are your key objectives behind your business? Do you want to be, you know, a smaller studio that has services clients with needs for physio or rehabilitation? Then your goals are completely different and they're worthy and relevant and suit a certain audience. But it's also this point in time I think is really fascinating in the industry where if you want to grow and thrive, you need to step out of your comfort zone a little bit. Or, as we've seen in our survey, that, you know, 40% of people have already adapted and added a new level, a new service. They've already done that in the past year. So that's a huge take-up of people adapting their business.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I still think there is a real core of purist Pilates that's out there, and I think there's some people who want to hold on to that. And again, I think that allows for things like ladder barrels and split stability chairs to start focusing more on Cadillacs and that type of training. I think, you know, that's going to be part of the evolution that we see your traditional reformer studios go into. You've probably got an opinion on that as well. But
and I think we will definitely see those studios adapt as well. Some of them offer a combination now of those smaller classes on those apparatus you just described, and some of them offer group classes in between that, so they're offering almost a double offering, but you can do one thing or the other. Some people need a bit more time, care and attention depending on their needs or what's happened through their bodies, whether it be a short-term fix or a long-term thing they need to address. But what's really fascinating is I think we will see those studios stay, but they'll become, you know, they're the core of the industry, they're niche, but they become really tailored to your needs as a client.
So CJ, we have danced around a little bit. We haven't actually got to how you formed the Pilates Journal. So was there anything that sort of happened in between you being in the US, working with the trade shows? How did you get from that to where you are now?
Yeah, great question. So I was obviously a journalist, was working in marketing and media, and then I decided that I wanted to get more into health and fitness. I'd always had it in my background, but obviously been busy travelling and doing things, and I was like, I just need to get back to that Pilates class. I know I feel good about this, and getting into that rhythm and routine was great, but I realised that I wanted to teach this. I wanted to be a part of this in a bigger way and understand it deeper. So I went and did my own training in Sydney with Polestar and really started to understand how much I loved the method and loved teaching others and giving people those aha moments.
And what period of time is this?
10 or 12 years ago, 10 years ago. A while ago. And then I had my
blink
kids.
of an eye.
Yeah, it really does feel like that. And then I had my first child and really used Pilates to help me with my postpartum recovery and was like, okay, this is game changing. There's a lot I need to do. I think at that phase, a lot of women think it will be a quick turn fix post-baby, but it can be quite a long time for
now,
a
is
pair
there a
recovery.
husband or a partner in this period of time?
Yes.
What does he or she do?
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's a he if you have a child, but you know, you
never
just
know.
never know
No,
nowadays. So
I absolutely
I'll just
agree.
ask the question
Yeah.
very, very politically correctly.
Yes. Yes, I have a husband, Brett. He's amazing. He also works in media, so he has a background in media. So we've always had these sorts of conversations about the world, history, what's happening.
Yep.
So he's always been a part of the centre of all of this.
Cool. So you had your first child?
I had my first child. I've got two, a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old now.
Wonderful.
So little people in my life.
Yeah. So they changed your life pretty dramatically.
Dramatically. But also they see me applying and doing this and doing what I love. And I think it's important for them to see good movement and understand how movement's good for your body. I don't force it upon them, but just them watching as a byproduct, I think, is the wheels are ticking. It's just giving them ideas for the future. I don't expect them to be Pilates teachers. That's not what I'm suggesting. But I would like them to understand how you support your body through movement. That sort of thing.
Yeah. So you're doing Pilates.
Yep.
How do we get to the journal?
Yeah. So did my training. After my training, I've been teaching for quite a few years. I ended up being a bar teacher as well, so doing that as well, and loved the dynamic of that compared to the Pilates I was teaching, reformer and mat and those sorts of things. And then it dawned on me through my journey that there wasn't one connective tissue with all the different types of Pilates. There was the original teacher training I did, but then if I wanted to explore anything outside that world, there wasn't any clear pathway or guidelines or support to figure out what was what, and it was a bit of a guessing game. Where do I find out this? What do I do about that? How do I open my own studio? It was just all out in the ether without a bit of chaos.
Yeah.
And so to me, it just made sense to go, well, hang on, can we not bring a community together where people can find these resources, where they can continue to develop their education? And if they want to open a studio, these people are passionate people that often don't have a business background. Where are they getting the support from?
Yep.
Where are they learning the tools? Through all of this, when my travels in the US, I also did an MBA, so perhaps this has something to do with that I had a business lens to everything. I did the MBA in Sydney, but I could travel at the same time. So I think I had a business mindset to everything I was looking at, going, well, hang on, what's happening here? So long story short, prior to COVID, a year or so before COVID, or 2 years, I decided, let's give it a go. Let's pull something together. I'd spoken to lots of people in the industry and said, what do you think? I'm going to pull this industry magazine together. I want to get all the leading voices together. I want to hear from different people and their perspectives. I just want to show the different journeys and pathways through Pilates. And people said, yeah, go for it. So you build up some courage and you say it's upwards.
Yep.
And so I launched the journal, and then within a year or two, COVID hit.
I'm assuming that had a slowdown effect on what you were doing.
It had the reverse, because people were sitting at home going, I no longer work in a studio at the moment. I'm sitting at home and am feeling a bit lost, because as Pilates teachers and studio owners, it's a very silo industry. You're doing it on your own, you're doing your own hours, you come in, you see your team, but then you come and you go, you leave. That they didn't have that sense of connection, they lost that sense of community, and we became that community during that time where they could reach in and be connected and talk about what's happening in the industry.
So it helped launch you further.
It propelled us.
Awesome.
So yeah, in a time where most people felt the pause, we felt the uptake.
Yeah, right.
Where people went, oh, I can finally find a community that's like me, that talks like me, and also allows the broad spectrum of the industry.
Yeah.
Like you were saying earlier, there can be different, areas that have different ideas, and that's great, and we don't want to change any of that, but we're going to give voice to all of that, because everybody's journey into the industry is different. Everybody should come in and experience their first class in a way that feels like it's something they want to stick with. And if that doesn't resonate with you, of course you're not going to stay.
Yeah.
So we need these different types of Pilates and the diversity, so that someone comes in and feels it, experiences it, finds the magic in it and wants to stay. And the longer they stay in the industry, whether you're just a client or whether you are a teacher, you learn so much more about your body over time. The beauty of Pilates is the longevity of what it teaches you, and it can support you because it's adaptable. If you're going through an injury or lower back pain, it can still support you through that, and you will feel better.
Yeah.
On the flip side, it can also help people who are elite performers, like athletes. We see a lot of NFL teams really leaning into it, particularly in the US.
Yeah.
At our last expo, we had a lady present who works with the athletes in Sydney and really challenges them, total body challenges that really set them up for success when they need that power in that movement, or that jump, or that elevation, or the power to find make something in that moment when they need it. It propels from the right place.
Yeah, look, I mean, I'm a very big advocate for males doing more Pilates. Obviously, as a male, you who works in the industry, at least
Yes.
in a fringe part of it.
Yeah.
My personal journey, I had quite a lot of injuries over the years, but I found the more that I've focused on Pilates, the reduction in those smaller injuries, and I've still maintained doing strength during that period, and my strength is actually better as a result.
Yeah.
I think, for sporting people and the alike, those 1 to 5% improvements are massive, and that's what they're looking for. So, I mean, if you were trying to present to a male for the first time who's never done Pilates and has an opinion, what would you say?
Yeah, I actually get a real thrill when someone comes in just as you've described, because you want them to have those aha moments. I think they come in with an expectation of it's going to be slow, or it might be not as strong as they're used to, or perhaps they've done a lot of HIIT or very fast-paced movements, and what we're teaching them is time under tension. Once they can wrap their heads around that there's a lot of intelligence in the movement they're creating, they love it. Once they can feel something, they love it, but you've got to take them on that journey.
Yeah. I think a lot of, especially males, feel intimidated as well. They
Totally.
go, I don't think I could do that. It's not for me.
Yeah.
Could you talk a little bit at that as well?
Yeah, definitely. I think, because, it gets this connotation of Pilates as stretching. I've heard that a lot.
Yeah. Which couldn't be really further from the truth.
No, but, that it's just these perceptions, right? And I think, like everything, it's just like, give it a go, come in the environment, find out. But it does take a level of confidence to step into those spaces. And that's why I think, like I was saying earlier, the diversity of the industry. So being able to have classes where it has a different level of focus. It might be more like a higher intensity level reformer class. You don't want to be jumping the first time you're there, but if it feels closer to what you're doing in your other workouts, you're more likely to stick with it. Yeah. And then you'll grow in the learning through it. And as you learn, you'll start to go, oh, hang on, I can break that down there and make more sense of it. A lot of what we're seeing come into group reformer classes at the moment is even the experience element. So by that I mean they might use music or dim lighting or other tools to make it feel more accessible, more inclusive. A lot of people like the lights down. They're like, great, no one's watching me anymore, right? Less judgment. But sometimes it's great for guys to come with a mate as well, because then it sort of levels the playing field a little bit. Or it might be as simple as just being open-minded enough to sit with it long enough. Pilates is not something that you step into in the first class you love, I don't think. That's just my personal opinion.
No, it did take a few for me. I felt challenged straight away, but it did take probably 7 to 10 classes before I went, I feel like I'm starting to, and master's the wrong word. I don't see myself as a master of it, but starting to master the skill of it.
Yes. So. Well, there's an actual phrase that we say that in 10 classes you'll start to feel it, in 20 classes you'll start to understand it, and in 30 classes you'll really wrap your head around it. It does take time because at first you're just trying to figure out how to make the movement possible. Then you learn how to challenge yourself in the movement. There's so much depth to it, I think. And you will no one can ever explain that to you. I think you have to sense it, you have to feel it, you have to trust the process. And like you said, Glenn, you'll find it will help you with all your other things that you do. It's fascinating.
So we're post-COVID, the journals sort of started to take off. What was the next sort of evolution with it for you? I think it's a leading question. You led into some events. So let's talk about the first events and then how that's progressing for you.
Sure. So yes, we brought the community together. We created a community and we got lots of feedback very early on. Are you going to do an event? Are you going to bring us all together? Because I think it's funny. People still love getting together. People always want to have those chats, and there's nothing better than that connection, especially with an industry that is very tactile. These are people who thrive off other people, who are helping bodies.
A lot of I-style personalities.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Exactly. Yeah. So they were looking for this. So it was natural that we knew very early on that we would be doing events. We knew it. It was just a matter of timing, strategic timing.
Yeah.
And so we ran our first event in Sydney, and it was in Bondi, a beautiful location. We think location is really important when running these events to create an experience as well as an event. We brought together some of the leading minds in Australia and just gave everybody a chance to learn from each other and experience new ways of thinking. That was one of the things we really wanted to bring to the expo in Sydney, because there's lots of different styles of Pilates out there. Well, there should be something for everybody to come and experience at this event. So we created the first one. There's workshops, there's networking opportunities. People loved it. They said, when's the next one? We said 12 months' time, because it's a lot to organise.
They're huge.
Yeah, and then it's sort of grown from there. We're coming up to our third year in Sydney, and
Going abroad.
yes, going abroad. So
Back to your second home.
Yes, exactly.
So
I tell everyone
very
it's my
exciting.
second home. So it's exciting to be taking it to LA in January. Always been part of the cards.
Is it in Huntington's
Yeah,
Beach?
Huntington Beach, yeah.
Which is just, it's kind of similar in a lot of ways to
Yes.
Bondi.
Yes.
Sort of.
And that, again, was what we were aiming for, that experience type place where people can see the water, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It creates that lifestyle as well as, learn from the best in industry. And LA was a no-brainer. We knew that the community wanted it. Over 50% of our audience is the US. So it really shows that people really wanted something like this. They wanted something fresh in that part of the world too. They wanted something that brings everyone together. There's some events that run, which are really great for the industry, but we want to be that connector of all types, as I mentioned earlier. So LA, you'll see some of the best minds that are sort of doing amazing things in Pilates. There's a guy called Sean Bagara who's doing strength training on the Reformer, really intelligent mover, really makes you think really deeply about how you make smart athletic progressions and decisions in how you curate your classes, like smart stuff. There's another girl called Andrea Spear who owns Spear Pilates, huge in the States, but she comes from a very functional athletic approach, which people really gravitate to. They love those group reformer classes. Andrea's a gun. She's been in the industry a very long time. We have people like Maria Leone from Bodyline LA, and Maria has worked with the types of like Jennifer Aniston and all these kind of crazy people, but what Maria brings is a real sense of she's been in the industry a very long time, possibly 30 or more years, but she brings a lens to it of, I respect where it come from and the principles that Joseph Pilates set in place, the guy that created Pilates, but she also goes, what do I need to practically apply to my clients in the moment? What do they need from me now? Her clients will come in and say, I'm doing a golf session. And she'll say, well, show me the movement you're trying to emulate and how you want to build on the strength on that. And she'll replicate that in that environment for that client to build the load strength to do it better.
Yeah.
Like intelligent movers, intelligent people that are just, really elevating how we're supporting our clients.
I mean, it's obviously great to hold the principles of what Joseph released, but that was for World War I, I believe, post-injury recovery. Obviously, as an industry, I think it's evolved a lot, but also the movement that people require now is so vastly different. It's great to hold the principles, but you also need to expand upon it, I think, to
I think we have to, if we want the industry to grow and thrive, we need to adapt, but we need to take the principles with us. So it is a challenging one in the industry where it's really, we don't want to move away from the roots, because we actually find that everything he did, the more research that's done, the more investigations, it's so much deeper than we thought. And the fact it's lasted this long, nearly over 100 years, is testament to what he built. And I think those at the centre of the industry who are doing a great job are not losing sight of it. They're just taking it and adapting it to the modern environment. And if we don't, it won't thrive. It won't continue to survive. I was talking to someone who used to work in the Club Pilates franchise, in fact, run it in the US only 2 days ago. And she was saying to me that we need to adapt because, Gen Z and millennials, their vision of, their lives and being well in the world is skewed to health and wellness.
Well, I also don't want to do what their parents did. There's another popular group fitness brand that's really struggling with that at the moment. We find the children and the instructors don't want to go to the classes because that's what their parents did. So it's constant challenges of how you evolve in the industry but still remain traditional to the core elements.
And I don't think that's unique. It's not unique to Pilates, I suppose, but it's, can we go too far away from it? Yes, we can, but I think as long as those principles are in mind and we're sort of drawing back to them, it just helps set you up for the foundations of success and getting a client to where you want them to be. Because fancy choreography is great, amazing flows are fantastic, but there needs to be substance behind it so a client comes back time and time and time again. Okay. But to your point, it's interesting in our research too that like the Gen Zs are wanting to do Pilates for mental health.
Yeah.
They're prioritising it over going out for dinner or watching Netflix. They've decided this is something that's a top priority for them. And so there's businesses in the US I was speaking to this week who are looking at creating group reformer studios that target them for their needs and the way they want to approach the world. It's exciting times.
Absolutely. So, always ask for a world scoop. What is the next evolution of Pilates Journal? Where do you go next? Is there any scoops you've got for our little audience?
Oh, good question. I thought you were going to say for the Pilates industry.
We can go there next.
Look, I think we will definitely be growing in terms of the number of events we do in the US. That's something we haven't said yet, but that's definitely on the cards. LA is, the takeoff point, so to speak, and we know it will grow. We know people want to see more of it. We know that there's a real interest in that, so we'll keep doing that. We'll also do more to promote. We have an awards program, so we'll do more in that sense to recognise people in the industry for what they're doing, that kind of stuff as well. But I would say that the biggest scoop is more events.
And I suppose we should ask question 2 that you were hoping I was going to ask. Where do you see the future of Pilates going? Like I we're really only at the tip of the iceberg, honestly. But where do you see the future of industry growing? Not just in Australia, but outside into other markets.
Yeah, look, I think a couple of things. I think it's really about looking at what's coming next and being able to adapt quickly. I think we will see the studios that survive or do really well and thrive are the ones that become more holistic in their services. So Pilates will be at the centre of what they do, but they might also offer complementary services, saunas, wellness centres, myotherapy, massage. They might do other things that make them a one-stop shop for holistic health and wellness. I think that will definitely be a trend we'll see more of. I think we'll start to see, like everyone loves the reformer and they love group reformer, but we might start to see more of the Pilates apparatus come out, like the Wonder Chair, because it is a chair that's, it doesn't take up a lot of real estate in your studio, but it packs a punch. It looks just like a chair in the corner, but it's, in my opinion, tougher than the reformer. So I think we'll start to see more of those sorts of things. I think we'll see, I get a lot of feedback that the industry needs more support from better teachers to support the group side of training. So I think we'll get more educators that will support group training to help better the teachers and how they support clients in that group environment. We'll probably hit a precipice of the number of people in a class. We'll finally get to a number that feels like it works. I've heard in there's one group that's doing like 40 people in one class
per instructor.
Yeah.
Wow.
That is a hard thing to do.
Do it well.
Yes. Yes. So I think we'll find a level that works. And everyone will have a different version of what that looks like as well.
Of course.
But yeah, I think it's an exciting time. Like you said, I think we're still in the maturing phase. We're not there yet. The industry's growing. It's trying to make sense of which direction it's headed in. Some people want to resist it. Some people want to go forward with it. And that's natural. But I think it's important that we don't fight it and embrace the things that we can change and also give people the opportunity to grow their businesses because there's an opportunity with so many more people coming in.
Great. Well, plug time. What else have we got? You can do plug time. So what do we want to plug? You want to plug the events? When are the dates?
Yeah, so the events are, we've got LA in January. It's the 10th and 11th of January in Huntington Beach.
Good time
Tickets
for Australians to get over there. Tickets are on sale now.
Yes,
tickets are on good sale. Promotions.
Yes. I realise that. And the Sydney one is the 21st and 22nd of February.
Okay.
So just a month later, but we'll also be bringing one of the international headline speakers across as well, which I know will be a real buzz for the community. They're very excited about her coming. So, I think if you are even curious about the industry, want to understand more, want to understand where the future is headed, we'll have lots of business panel sessions talking about this as well. So,
cool.
Yeah.
Anything else we should be talking about?
I think the only other thing I'd be saying is when you're talking about plugs, it's free to subscribe. That's a really important point, I think, because we want it to be inclusive, accessible for everyone, that if you know someone who you think might just be curious about learning Pilates,
Yep.
they can sign up for free and just start their journey of learning. I think I've been a lifelong learner. I continue to be a lifelong learner. And I think any resource that's free that educates you is amazing.
Look, the journal is a great source of information. There's so much practical info in there. There's so many stories of how people came here. There's obviously, some of the latest trends, and it's just such a great read. And for anybody who has an interest in Pilates, subscribe for free now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's a wrap.
I think so too.
Yeah,
It's been amazing.
CJ, thank you.
Thank you.
Really, it was great to sit down, learn a bit more of your history, and again, for people to just see, the industry is very accessible, and it's an exciting part to be a part of. What's happening in Pilates now.
Absolutely.
I think
it's exciting time.
Doubled its growth in the last 10 years. When you've got over 100 years of kind of to have doubled in the last 10, I think it just says we're at the tip of that iceberg.
Speaks volumes. I think it just shows how exciting it is to be in this industry, and just give it a go.
Yeah. Men listening, do Pilates. It's good for you. So without any further ado, again, thank you, CJ. Really, it was great, and we'll hopefully talk again soon.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thanks.